Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Getting real. Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your happiness specialist, global happiness specialist, Rebecca L. Norrington. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing the show. Woo! We have some new, listen, this is a revelation to me. The universe just gave me this insight on the ego, and I cannot wait to share it with you. Woo-wee! Because one of the things that causes me to suffer is buying into my ego, believing my ego, identifying with my ego. You know, all those thoughts, those critical thoughts, those judgmental thoughts about myself and about others. You know what I'm talking about, all authored by the ego. I'm so excited to share this. But before I do, I just want to, we get a lot of new people listening every week, and I just want to give a very brief introduction to the show and what the show is about and who the hell am I, Rebecca, the happiness specialist. What? Woo-wee. Well, well, it would help if I could speak. I've been sharing this show for over 10 years now, and with the show has grown, I've grown, and so when I say reality spirituality, it is all about real life issues, real life challenges, and what do we do and what do we choose, and in the moments when we are met with life's ups and downs, life's roller coasters, you know what I'm talking about, when life hits. And I'm not saying all the things that, we love, thank you, universe, thank you, being grateful for that. I'm talking about when we're challenged. You know who you are when you're challenged. And when I say happiness specialist, what I mean is, when I say that, what I study and what I research is how to experience more happiness along the journey. That's it. How to experience more happiness along this journey that we call life. And with that, there is my definition of happiness, which is the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens to you and regardless of what doesn't happen. Happiness is the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens and what doesn't happen. And when I say, and that's my definition, and when I say at peace, it's interchangeable with those words, feeling content, that vibration of satisfaction, that vibration of ease, that vibration of flow, you know, that chill vibration where I got this, universe, you and me, we got this. That vibration of knowing and trusting that whatever I'm experiencing, whatever you're experiencing is there to serve us, regardless of how it feels, regardless of how it looks, regardless of the programming that we've all received to make a judgment. Oh, this is not good. This isn't good. Something's wrong. I'm here to tell you that's one of the secrets I discovered this week. I cannot wait. So the definition of happiness, my definition of happiness, is to be able to be at peace, the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens. And then with that, I also want to say that happiness, like any other skill, is practice. It is a practiced skill. And then, what do you practice? Well, one of the things is recognizing all the programming, because our programming is one of the biggest reasons why we're running around here unhappy. The programming of having expectations, the programming of blaming something else outside of self for how I'm feeling, the programming of comparing, the programming of worrying. You know, you didn't pop out of here worrying, but you were taught to worry. So with that worrying, guess what? The only reason why you worry is lack of trust. I know I've said it a million times, but it's such an important concept, because when I ask people if they worry, everybody raises their hand. Yeah, I worry. Well, just practice trusting more. And this show, Reality Spirituality, is all about what happens in real life. So let me ask you, my dear audience, on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is happiness in your life? What is it even a priority for you? And then what is your definition? You've heard my definition of happiness. What is your definition of happiness? My other definition is just to be able to be on my deathbed with a smile, just to be able to smile while I'm breathing my last breath. That is another one of my definitions of happiness. And then my question to you is, what's subtracting from your happiness today? What or who is subtracting from your happiness today? And are you as happy when you're faced with life's inevitable challenges? Or does the challenge, or does what happens to you affect how you feel? What happens to you affects your vibration. And only you can answer those questions. And I have 5 questions that are yes and no. This is for you and you only. You know who you are. Can other people hurt your feelings? Yes or no? Can other people offend you? Yes or no? Can other people disappoint you? Do you blame other people for how you're feeling? Do you blame your circumstances for how you're feeling? You know, if you answered yes to any of those questions, guess what? We have things to practice. Let's practice together. When I say happiness is a practice skill, the more you commit to the practice, and it is daily, it's daily, it's moment by moment, there's never any end, there's never a rest, there's never a vacation, there's never a day off. And what I'm talking about is living consciously and being aware of what you are saying, why you're saying it, and if there's an agenda behind it. Because when you start practicing the self-awareness in every single moment, you're able to make different choices. Because in every moment we're choosing either peace or we're choosing drama. And I don't know about you, but there's not a lot of happiness found in the middle of the drama. And you know what I'm talking about when I say drama. I'm not talking about being on stage on Broadway. I'm talking about personal drama, drama with people, drama with the world, drama with your neighbors, drama with your coworkers, drama with your family. All of that drama. Guess who has the power? Guess who has the power to either have peace or drama in any relationship that you're encountering? Woo! So how important is happiness to you? When I said making a commitment, it is my number one commitment over anything else. And when I say practice, it's very simple. What you do is you just practice all of the behaviors. You practice eliminating all of the behaviors that subtract from happiness. And, of course, you practice adding the behaviors that will add to your happiness. It's very, very simple. But it's simple. The concepts are simple, and the practice is endless. That's what I want to say. The first part of the practice, I say gradually eliminating the behaviors that subtract from happiness, which are having expectations, blaming someone or something for how you're feeling, lack of acceptance, believing that words have power. And the other part of the practice is just cultivating, nurturing those behaviors that are going to add to your happiness, which is practicing trust, acceptance, letting go, being okay with uncertainty. It's an endless practice is what I'm trying to say. Now we have a few people in the queue. Well, we had a few people in the queue, and if you want to speak with me, just press the number 1. But here we go. This is the revolutionary information on the ego. Now, I'm so proud of this. I'm just so proud of this insight. I love your feedback. What is the biggest fear of the ego? And we all know what the ego is. It's that voice. Sometimes we say it's that either the ego. Some people use mind as to describe the ego. You know, that constant voice, that critical voice, that judgmental voice, that endless, seems like it never goes to sleep voice, that there is something wrong, there is something to look at, that there's a mistake, there's something that's not right. You know that voice. Well, what is the biggest fear of that voice? And the answer is getting exposed, being exposed, having the spotlight on it. Because when the light is on it, guess what? There's no hiding. There's no hiding. Now, we all know, we've all practiced, and we know the concepts. You have the universal voice and you have the ego's voice. But there's even something more that you can use to determine what that ego is really doing, and how you can determine, because I get that question a lot. How do I know it's the ego? Because it's tricky. The ego will have me thinking I'm doing a good deed, but underneath it I have an agenda. It's very tricky. How do you know that it's the ego's voice? Here we go. You know it's the ego when the solution always includes someone else. When I say the solution to whatever your problem is, the solution to your challenge in the moment, the solution to your whatever your angst, the solution to all of that depends on someone else doing something. Someone else has to make a change. Someone else, you're relying on someone else to either do something, to change their behavior. And when it's the universal voice, it's all of the responding, all of the behavior is you and you holding hands with the universe. Or now I use the term universe. Some people have questioned. You can slip in God, you can slip in spirit, higher power. I can say God interchangeably. It doesn't really matter the term. It is that whatever fits, whatever feels good to you. How's that? Whatever concept you vibe with, I'm okay. You know what I'm talking about. So there's a difference between the universal voice and the ego. And the universe, all of the solutions that the universe brings you, all of the solutions are all about what self can do, what you can do. It doesn't include, then this person has to change what they're doing. This other person has to make a change, has to do something. No, your power comes from you being connected to God, you being connected with the universe. It has your peace has nothing to do with anyone else. But the ego will want us to believe that there is only peace if someone else does something different. If someone else changes, if we have a conversation, when you say this to me, I don't feel good, or when you say this to me, my feelings are hurt. You know what I'm talking about. Let me give you a perfect real-life example of what happened this week. And we have a few people in the queue. Just press number 1 if you want to speak with me. The call-in number is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. My son has been staying here, living here for a few months now, and he it's so funny. After 14 years, 15 years now, we're living in the same house. It's really interesting dynamic. So of course, in the beginning, there's a little. I'm such a detail. I notice everything. I notice if I just notice things, and the water bottle on the tray, the napkin, the crumpled up napkin. A lot of things I just had to let go, because if I didn't let go, I would not be peaceful. I'm always was always looking for something he needed to do. He needed to change. And the last example of that was last week when you buy a case of water, one of those cases of water, I think there's 24 water bottles in them. They're from Costco. And when I buy a case of water, here we go, audience, don't laugh. But there's a right way. There's a right way to open a case of water, and there is a wrong way to open a case of water. At least so my ego says. At least so my ego tells me. And I'm saying this tongue-in-cheek. So the right way to open water is when you have a big case of water, you take a knife and you just make slits through the plastic, so it's easy for someone to pick up a water bottle and keep it moving, as opposed to the other way of poking a hole in the plastic, and now you got to poke and dig every time you got to go for water. Every time you have to get a water bottle, now you got to poke a hole in the plastic, as opposed to just opening it all in the beginning. You follow me? Woo, I know my eyes are rolling too. Sometimes I roll my eyes at myself. Don't worry about it. So here we go. Now, you know that my son knows about me and the way about the water. That's the way that I open the water bottle. Now, I am a lot more evolved than I was years ago, decades ago, where this is the right way and there's a wrong way. No, it's not right or wrong. It's just this is my way, and then there's someone else's way. But I reluctantly, wink, 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 reluctantly let go of that, what's right and what's wrong. No, it's my way, and then there's another person's way. So, of course, I'm in the garage, and I see the case of water bottle with just the poke through the plastic, and the plastic is pulled, and you can only get one or two water bottles out of there. You sure can't get more than that, because you're going to have to poke more holes in the plastic. Ooh, and that's really a big problem, isn't it? It's a real problem. Woo! So I see the hole poked in the case of water, and of course this isn't the first time that it's happened, but it's the first time that I realized that my ego really wants someone else to do something different. I really want my son to open up that case of water just the way I open it up with a knife. But see, the problem with that is, and I've said it. I said, well, I open it this way. This is how I would like the water bottles open. But if he doesn't open it that way, then what happens? Then what? I'm going to have anxiety. Is he gonna open the water the way I told him to open? I'm gonna be focused on how he opens up a case of water. And I'm sharing this. I don't know how it sounds, but it sounds trivial. But this can be applied to anything in life. Waiting for someone else to do something that I would like them to do, waiting for them to do it. But not only is there a possibility that they are not going to do it, or they're going to forget to do it, or they just don't want to do it, now what? Now what do I do? My peace, my happiness depends on me, not someone else. When the solution is someone else, then I know that that's going to be a problem for my peace. The solution can never be, this is my insight. If the solution is someone else, then I am not going to be able to be peaceful because I have to depend on someone else and their behavior. And you know we're all so different. With some people rather have your finger poked through the case of water. I mean, I don't get it, but so it's the acceptance of others and their differences, and even more importantly, knowing that the ego is trying to, what is the job of the ego? It sure isn't to bring me peace. It sure isn't to bring me this peaceful vibration that I can carry with me the rest of the day. It's not that. The ego is here to point out things that are wrong in the world, with other people. I don't care who it is, people you know and people you don't know. The ego is here to judge. The ego is here to be non-accepting. The ego is here to find fault. The ego is here for endless unrest. Unrest. Of course, we all realize that, and again, you could say ego, you could say mind. When I depend on my son to cut the water bottles, the plastic off the water bottles, or cut through the plastic from the water bottle case the way I want, then someone else has power. Because what if they don't? Now what? I'm going to feel a certain way because they're not doing or they're not acting in a way that I think I'm going to feel peaceful. If he opens the water bottle like the way I do, I'm going to be at peace. Well, that's just not true. Any time when someone else is the solution to your problem, when someone else or something else needs to happen, or someone else has to behave in a different way, and they are the solution they're the solution to your problem, you know that is ego-driven. And guess what? That means you don't have a problem. If someone else has to change, or if someone else is going to, in other words, if you see someone else as the solution, that someone else has to do something, and that's going to be the solution to your problem, guess what? You don't have a problem. You don't. Because the ego throws out things and makes it look like it's a big deal, makes it look like it's drama, makes it look like a problem. But I'm here to tell you, if it's authored by the ego, there is no problem. There is no challenge. When the ego is exposed, when the ego has the spotlight on it, the spotlight drains the ego of its power. When you recognize, oh, that's my ego. My ego wants Mr. Man to behave in this way. Oh, my ego wants Miss Goldilocks to behave in this way. I don't even know why I pull that out. Goldilocks has nothing to do with the show. Who knows? Woo! Wee! The ego is so interesting because now, and let me tell you another really quick one. I had a little business thing I'm trying to get done, and it's been a week, 2 weeks, and of course it hasn't been done, and it's because it was one of my relatives, and it's because they're not calling, or they're not taking care of business in a timely fashion, or they're waiting too long, or it's always about someone else and their behavior. See, when I'm thinking about someone else and it's their behavior and what they did and what they didn't do, then I'm already stuck in it. I'm already trapped in it. I don't have a problem. Everything is unfolding in the way that was planned to unfold. In other words, it's nothing about something that I have to do or don't do. It's just being patient with the unfolding of life. This life is a moment-by-moment unfolding. It's an experience without judgment. It's not the programming. It's not what we were taught. It's not. because I'll tell you why it's not. Find one person that has a vibration balance or satisfied with achieving, with getting, with goals. And you know what I'm talking about. Well, when listen, from the top of the top, Steve Jobs. I mean, the guy changed the world with the communication, with the iPhone, with the Apple. He changed the world. But we've all read, we all know what type of temperament that man had until the end of his life. I don't know if you've done any reading, but it's really interesting. Toward the end of his life, he started realizing what was really important. What was really important at the end of his life. He started when he was dying. You can do the research when he was dying or look it up online. You can find the stories when he was dying. He would take walks to the park and be in wonder about, wow, this is what life really is about. Finding that peace, nurturing that peace, keeping that peace with you regardless of what happens, regardless of what life throws at you. I was looking. I don't even remember who it was that was being interviewed, and they were talking about, it was a very famous person who they were talking about everybody in the world knows my name, but they don't know that I'm unhappy. This happiness is a thing. If you can have everything in the world, from material things to friendships, everyone knows who you are. But if there's no peace in the soul, then what do you have? Peace. I've talked about this a lot. All of the examples, from Michael Jackson to the Princes to the Anthony Bourdain to the Kate Spade, you name it. The search for peace, the search for happiness is a real thing. And there's a formula for it. And there is a practice. And that is one of the biggest practices, recognizing the ego and recognizing what its job is. To keep me thinking that there's something wrong with what's going on. And there's never anything wrong. I know. I get a lot of pushback on that. I know. I'm talking universally. It doesn't feel like it. It may not look like it. But there is a divine order to all of this. All of this is happening. All of it. Now, I get this question a lot. Well, Rebecca, so what do you do? Just stick your head in the sand and you don't do anything and you just believe that everything's okay and kumbaya. I hear that all the time. And the answer is, you want to change the world, then change your vibration. You change your vibration, meaning your vibration is what you are contributing to this planet. And when I say do anything, don't do anything, when I act, I do act. I do things when I'm inspired. And you know what's funny is I used to do this whole ego thing with how many people can I touch? How many people can I share the information? How many? And there was a big thing about numbers. There was a big how many numbers, how many people are listening? How many people are tuning in? And I would really focus on numbers until the universe had a conversation with me, and it was very life-changing. I said, there's only a few people listening, universe. There are only a few people listening. And you've heard me say this before on the show if you've been a long-time listener. The universe says, we're listening. Isn't that enough? The programming to look at numbers, the programming to look at, to look at a number for me to feel a sense of satisfaction or a sense of peace, it's not going to come from a number. It's not going to come from a number from either 1 or 5 million. My peace doesn't come from a number. The ego will want me to believe that, yes, the solution is someone else. The solution is something else. When I hit 5 million views, when I hit 5 billion, when I hit 5 million views, I'm going to be fine. But you know yourself from just having goals, achieving goals, and feeling, wow, is there something more? Is there something more? Isn't there? This is it? That something more is what this show is about. The something more is how to be rooted in, how to be rooted in peace, how to be foundationally rooted in peace. How? When the solution comes, when the solution has to involve someone else, you know that is authored by the ego, and you know then that you don't have a problem. If it's someone else that you're focusing on, you don't have a problem. Focus on self. Focus on that face in the mirror. Focus on that. Have a communication. Have a conversation with the universe. Say, universe, how can I experience more peace along this journey? How? And when you ask how, you always get an answer. I'm just looking over my notes. Let me make sure that I've said everything that I wanted to say. Someone else's solution to your problems. Yes, biggest fear of the ego. So recapping, the biggest fear of the ego is being exposed. And what it's doing, what it's trying to do. It's trying to make me feel bad about something. It's trying to make me suffer. It's trying to make me think that something's wrong. It's trying to make me think that that a mistake has been made. The solution that someone else has to change or do something else is a clue that the ego has you exactly where it wants you, thinking that someone else has to do something for you to feel a different way. And I'm here to tell you that that's bunk. Bunk, bunk, bunk. B-U-N-K, bunk. The ego will tell you that you are not the solution. The ego will tell you that someone else is the solution. And I'm here to share that it's bunk. So now we know. Now the ego has been exposed. Now we know the truth that your problems are never about anyone else. So I'm going to challenge you not to talk about someone else and what someone else did or didn't do. See, the addiction is talking about someone else and blaming someone else and saying that it is someone else's fault. It's the blame game. It's not your circumstances, and it's not relationships. It's not the election, who won the election, or the price of gas. Your happiness, your inner peace depends on what you practice on a daily basis. You want to feel different in any challenging moment? You can change your perspective. You can also trust. You can let go of thinking that something is happening that shouldn't be happening. Start trusting, surrendering, letting go. That practice is the practice that will bring you more happiness and peace in all the moments. Well, that's all the end of today's show. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality Radio. The Truth About Happiness is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington. I'm on LinkedIn. My Instagram handle is RealitySpirituality. My YouTube channel is a work in progress. I know. But feel free to check out the videos I do have. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon. And my second book, Program for Unhappiness, will be out sometime this year. And until next time, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You're always evolving. You're always changing. You're always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, Global Happiness Specialist Rebecca L. Norrington. Have a conscious week, and remember, happiness is a practice skill. You are what you practice.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience.